Thank you for joining me. This is my little social show called What's Your Beautiful No? And it's based on my memoir. And that's the title story. And the reason is because I think it is a life-changing foundational life principle. Now, here are the really glad tidings, my friends. The paperback just came today. Yes, I've got the paperback today, and there is a beautiful quote, a little blurb from none other than my dear friend Dr. Laura Berman. It's available for pre-sale, coming out February 16th. Includes a companion workbook, and it's a joy. So I'm going to go get Dr. Laura Berman, my good friend. There you are!
We made it. I was like, connect.
No, I know. I didn't know what the hell's going on. Well, listen, I live in the middle of nowhere. So that's going to be a little bit of it. I'm not in a thriving metropolis anymore. I am a little bit in the middle of nowhere, actually. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. It's good to see your face. Will you tell me if you can hear me if I put my phone down? Is it blocking the speaker? Because my kids stole my earphone.
No, I can hear you. I can hear you well. Look at everybody. Hi, big waves to everybody who's joining us.
No,
yeah, it's good. How have you been?
I have been surprisingly great.
You're on fire. You're on fire.
I'm on fire. I've been really busy. I mean, this is my Super Bowl time. You know that. Valentine's Day is hard for stuff going on, and I'm launching this podcast on Valentine's Day, so I've been madly getting ready for that. I mean, it's just been a lot, but it's been really exciting, and I love having my teen boys stuck at home with me. That's been really fun too.
Yeah. Yeah. So everybody who's joining us, Dr. Laura Berman is one of the superstar regulars from the Oprah show back in the day. Had her own series on Own the Network, in the bedroom, for quite a while. And, all the platforms. She has all the platforms, but you are considered one of the foremost love, sex, and relationship experts. And so I just like people to know that.
Thank you. I'm your sex and relationship expert too.
Yes!
I'm going to have to put you on the spot maybe later.
Yes, maybe. Maybe you will. There's Lady Bulldog. I love you. Hi, guys. It's snowy on the East Coast. I know. You have a big fan that just came, Dr. Berman.
Thank you.
Well, so I've invited you on. This my little social show is inspired by my memoir,
which I love.
Thank you. Because I really feel like once you tap into the idea that really, really, really things are working out in your favor, even when you're curled in a ball and crying your eyes out over a disappointment or a heartache or a heartbreak. And I feel like now more than ever, that conversation is very beneficial. For those of us who are staying home at night and looking at Instagram, we might as well have this fabulous soul-stirring conversation. So I'm going to start by saying, remember everybody, your beautiful no is anytime you've been heartbroken, rejected, disappointed, and you never thought you'd get over it. And later on, you can look back and see it was the key to about 10 other things that were so much better. So, Dr. Berman, what is your beautiful no?
Oh my God, I have so many beautiful no's. Like when I was thinking about this question, because I knew we were going to talk about this, I mean, my life is filled with them. To me, it's the key to surrender and trust and faith that which is right is always unfolding. And I don't think if I had as many beautiful no's that I would really be doing as well as I am, because that's right. Whence flow and faith come, in my opinion, and resilience at its core is the beautiful no. So I could talk about cancer. I could talk about my mom died. I mean, there's so many horrible, I call them AFGEs, another freaking growth experience, after another, like these horrible things that have all led to these amazing gifts. But since I'm talking to you, I want to, I'm going to say that probably the beautiful no that I would use as an example here was about 20 years ago or 15 years ago, I was living in LA, and I see some people actually mentioning way back then, I had a show on Discovery Health called Berman and Berman. One of the people mentioned that.
Yeah.
And working with my sister clinically and in media. And it got really, without going into too many details, I was like launching, I had, a television show, a brand new clinic, full faculty at a university hospital, like,
yes.
And it got so hard and bad for me. And then when it finally really started affecting our clinical work together, I had to make the hardest no decision of my life up to them, which was to run, cut bait and run. I left my agent. I left the show. I left my clinical practice. I left. And I was so freaking scared. And and I also had been, like you talk about when you talk about your beautiful no, I also was getting from so many, especially my family, you're not going to be anything on your own. You're a sister act. You're never going to get anywhere on your own. The reason people want.
And you guys were getting so much play as sisters. Like, it was so much play. I just want to make sure that people understand that it was the shiny, bright object. Like, you've made it.
I know.
You've arrived.
And it's like a sister act, and we're talking about sex. I mean, like, people, like, nobody could get enough of it. And
two gorgeous blonde sister. Oh, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember. Everybody said you'll be nuts to walk away.
Yeah. Oh, everybody did, including my family, as you can imagine, and my agent. And I ended up having to walk away from my agent because he basically told me, you're nothing without your sister. And, he would have said the same thing to her. But I really, at the time, wondered if that was like a part of me really believed that, because I'd been told it so much because no one wanted me to leave. And I walked away from everything, and I was scared poopless and so sad because, my relationship with my sister, just had blown, wasn't, I won't get into details, but it wasn't my fault. But it was really bad. And I moved to Chicago from LA, left everything. Didn't have an agent, didn't have a job, didn't have anything.
That sounds crazy.
It's crazy, but I really felt at the time that I was going down hard if I stayed where I was. I was crying every night. I was unruffling feathers, cleaning up messes. I was a basket case.
Yeah.
There was no end in sight,
So externally, just to paint the picture some more, there is this national success. Mm-hmm. It's what you've worked for. Mm-hmm. It is going to be as successful as you hoped it would be. Mm-hmm. But the no is, it's not working out.
It was beyond not working out. But I could have stayed if I sucked it up, and I would have kept, maybe, I've come to the point where it would have blown up in my face, because I feel like the universe, taps at your door when you're not where you're supposed to be, which it was definitely doing. Yeah. Then knocks a little harder, and if you still don't listen, they blow up the whole house. So, right. I probably would have ended up leaving eventually anyway, but I needed to just go. And so I moved to Chicago. I had no agent, no media career, nothing. And had I not done that, I wouldn't have ended up on Oprah. I wouldn't have been one of the premier shows on OWN. I wouldn't have, none of that would have happened.
None of it.
If I hadn't left. And, all of the things, all of the 9 books or the 8 books, I guess I've written on my own, everything that's happened since then, the radio shows, the bestsellers, that has all been on my own. And it's been unbelievably beautiful. And I look back at that time often because I would say of all my life, that is probably the time I have been most unbelievably filled with doubt. that am I making the right decision, and am I
Yeah.
shooting myself in the foot? You know, and leaving any relationship, whether it's a partnership or a love relationship or anything else, you know, most of us know when it's time to leave, but we're
Yeah.
just freaking scared to leave. And the pain of being in the situation has to be greater than the fear of leaving it before you make
Well,
that.
I love this twist. This is a twist on the beautiful no, because you actually weren't rejected. You weren't heartbroken.
Mm,
Yeah, well, it was heartbreaking,
right. But I
but
wasn't.
no, you were not. I mean,
I
it's
felt
like
like it
you're,
was, you know.
yeah, yeah.
But you're right. I was the one that said no.
Right. It's the
Yeah.
well, it's here's what it really is. And it's really the beginning. Like, I knew this was going to be a great conversation with you tonight because you already agree with me
I do.
that there is no such thing as a not beautiful no. There really isn't.
There-
There really isn't. But I think this is another nuance, if you will, like an expansion of this spiritual foundational belief, which is it's also about being in a situation when you don't know what's going to be on the other side if you leave.
No.
You don't know what's going to happen to you, how you're going to make it, if it's going to work out. But something in your soul says no more.
Yeah. And you
This is a no.
and it's this push pull, because on the one hand, and I know people relate to this, where whoever they're willing to, you know, thinking about walking away on, it's this one thing of like, I'm on one level, I'm safe and I can be with the status quo and it's working, but I'm giving up so much of myself, my sanity, my integrity, you know,
Yeah.
all of that. But it's still, it's like, how much are you going to value your soul and your heart and your integrity versus your safety is kind of what it came down to. And at the time, I mean, now I think if that happened, I would be in a very different headspace. But at the time, I was like deep in insecurity and codependence. And, you know, I was drinking the Kool-Aid that I wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens. I mean, in many ways, it was almost, I won't call it an abusive relationship, but it was similar to that, in that I had been drinking, and it wasn't, it was a lot of people that were implanting, because they had their own agenda, which people will, right?
Oh, yeah. In Hollywood?
Yeah. And you won't do it. Are you crazy? You're not going to get
Yeah.
anywhere. You're not going to do anything. You're not anything.
Well, listen, okay, before I get all hoity-toity, let me think about that. I mean, looking at what the situation was, if you're not inside of it, living it, it would have been very easy to tell you you're nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the big shiny gold mountaintop
Yeah.
that it is. Everybody wants to book you. Everybody wants to have you two on the show together, on their shows together. Everybody, your clinic is being flooded, with people who, want to be patients. It's like from
That
A
was
to Z.
the list we had when I walked away.
Wait, say that again.
1,000-person waiting list for the clinic.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm gonna take all my my hoity-toity remarks back, because if somebody's advising you professionally, that looks accurate.
Yeah, but
That
they all knew what was happening and why I was leaving, but they felt like the success and money and power that comes with that what should be more valuable than my heart and my sanity.
Well, listen, Laura, I mean, you talk to couples all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine a lot of women are trapped in marriages feeling like that.
Exactly. It's the same thing, and men, but it's mostly women. It's exactly
the
situation that,
and not, that unknown of what's on the other side of my leaving this. At least I know what it is. At least I know what life is like.
Yeah.
I can really feel that.
Yeah.
I can really understand that.
And it's an unbelievably powerful experience to take that big leap into when you don't know what you're leaping into, but you just have to trust that which is right is unfolding, that it's a beautiful and
Yes.
and it always,
it's my favorite thing that you say, that which is right is unfolding.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a piece of that. It's it's also, so let's expand on that, because you and I both believe in the law of attraction. We're students of that philosophy, and boy, the beautiful no just backs right up in that, where that if you are, you're focusing on your story, you're tending to your own garden, you're paying attention, here's what I say to people. I'll give myself a little bit of time to be upset, because I'm human.
Yeah.
I'll allow my humanity some air,
Yeah.
to be emotive and upset and disappointed and all that. But not like I used to. I don't want to lose months to it. I don't want to lose, a serious chunk of my life to that. So it's almost like moving from that state of upset as quickly as I can in an authentic way to curiosity.
Yeah. And what you're talking about, Sherry, is, quantum love, right? My book, like the quantum love map, right? So,
Yes.
Shame and guilt is the lowest frequency that you can hold, right? So that's going to, from a law of attraction standpoint, because we know that's what the book is about, but it's this whole premise that quantum physics is the science underneath the law of attraction.
Yes, it is.
So it's all about the frequency you hold and how that interacts, for lack of a better term, with the field. And so shame, guilt is the lowest frequency, all the way up to like bliss and ecstasy, which most of us don't live in, unless we're some guru on a mountaintop. But once you get to curiosity, you're moving into what I call home frequency. Openness and curiosity is where you shift out of that negative, where you're just accidentally, unintentionally creating more drama, more stuff that you don't want, to what you really do want to manifest. And
and it's holding that faith. We toss that word around. I was raised Catholic. And it just turned out that's not my
orientation,
connected spiritual practice, but I can see how it can be for some people. But it's like we use that word faith, have faith, I have faith. This is what this means.
Exactly. And by the way, I was raised in a very secular environment, and it wasn't until, and I'm still figuring out, like, my personal relationship with God's spirit, whatever that is. Like, I never had that growing up.
Right.
But it doesn't even have to do, whether you call it spirit, God, whatever. It's about.
I didn't either. I mean, I went through the motions on Sunday, but it really wasn't until I understood the quantum nature of our lives.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, that makes sense.
Yeah. And it does work. I mean, I think it takes bravery and commitment and practice, but what starts to happen is, as maybe you do it in that smaller way, right? Those leaps, those no's. And then as you start to see that I mean, my mother used to tell me this when I was a little girl and I was upset I didn't get a part in a play or something. She'd be like, honey, whenever a door closes, another one
opens. Right.
It's basically a version of what we're talking about, but it's not, what I think is important to add to what you said about shifting to curiosity, and that is the way to start shifting, is that what I have found for myself, because I often still can get triggered to fear, shame, guilt. I mean, I just was rolling around in guilt last night, that it's about not bypassing it. What I have found from an emotional standpoint is, whenever I'm triggered to those places of fear, doubt, shame, guilt, it's often not even me. It's like a younger part of me that adopted stories about what I can and can't.
It's your wound.
It's my little wounds. And so what I do is go into those places. And, a shaman actually taught me this. It's a version of soul retrieval, but that's what the shaman call it. But I literally go into, like, I do a body scan, and then invariably, if you're afraid, if you're in fear, you'll feel it here, you'll feel it in different places, and you go all the way into that feeling with your entire conscious mind. You don't even need to think. You just put all of your conscious attention on that sensation and you let it get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then what I like to do is like imagine blowing it out, my eyes are closed, into something that I can communicate with. And my mind does all kinds of things. Sometimes it's a gargoyle, sometimes it's a little doggy, you know, it depends. But I'll say to it, what do you want? And it's like a conversation with your unconscious. I'll say, what do you want? What do you need? And invariably, I get clarity, and I cry, or I scream into a pillow, or I let that go, and then I've sort of processed the fear.
Yeah. And then you can get curious.
And then I can get curious. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, I find doing the detective work of kind of going back in your life and kind of inviting all your disappointments to the table, and just imagining, like, well, let's say you had gotten a yes there.
Mm-hmm.
Then what happens?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you got a yes there. What's the trajectory now? And it is always so stunning that all these big, beautiful chunks of life and people and things that, treasured experiences that really formed me in lots of ways, were only possible because of that.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. And, I even have this conversation with my oldest son sometimes, who's 23 now, but he was he had leukemia as a little baby and went through, or little boy, had 3 years from 3 to 6 of intensive treatment, and has, had a bunch of complications, and finally like turned a corner. And at 23, he can really see what the gifts were, and he can look back just at this point. You can start to look back at, oh, okay, here's not that, he thinks there was a good reason he had cancer, but he can see, just like for me, when I had cancer 10 years ago, that's what they call the gift of cancer. You can see all of the gifts that come out of these times once you're over them and past them, right? Years. Right. But the goal is, that's the distance between the faith, and the circumstance. Right. You have to remember that when you look back, it's going to make total sense.
Listen, I am I'm leaning and I don't want to use a word that sounds like I mean it in a perfectionistic way, but I want mastery.
Yeah.
I want mastery. I want in the middle of that, and I've been able to do it a few times where I thought, usually it's something that doesn't matter that much to me. That's the truth.
Always
that it's like a couple things I thought were going to come true or come through that didn't, and I'm like, and it's just like right away, like, not for me, not for me. That's not for me. That's not for me.
Yeah.
And like someone's saying, Neil's saying, I just fired a toxic employee today. Finally said no. Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like I practice on the things, the disappointments that really aren't that disappointing.
Yeah. Low stakes disappointments.
Yeah, but it's like I want that mastery.
Yeah.
I want to be so in alignment that I cannot be moved. But for a minute.
Let me know when you get there.
But for a minute. Bella.
See, I don't mind. To me,
Bella Gandhi's with us tonight. Yeah, right. That's hilarious. Bella, she's sending us hearts. Yeah, I mean, I think
you're such an overachiever, Sherry.
That's so funny. You've told me that before. Well, I mean, I guess here's what I'm saying. When I see the time that I've wasted in not real medical depression, but like telling myself a very depressive, downbeat, downhearted, dispirited story about any event in my life, and then just watching that spiral. And and then I've had the opportunity to spend the last days of someone's life with them, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'd take those days back. I don't want to be moved. Like I want to, with gentleness and compassion, not, beating myself up the mountain, but gentleness and compassion, require myself to remember what I already know.
Amen. Can I just amend it a little bit?
Yes. Give me a tweak.
I'll give you a tweak. And that is, I really believe that the duality of our emotions is really what allows us to feel the yummy stuff. If we never had sadness or fear,
True.
we wouldn't enjoy yumminess and excitement and success and, joy. And so I agree with you completely, but I do feel that the compassion has to include not that you're unmoved and you're like, nope, I'm not going to be upset about it. I'll give you a quick example.
Yeah.
My radio show, which you know how much I loved my radio show, a syndicated radio show. You came on it several times, or at least I don't remember how many. You've come on.
I did. I came on it a bunch. You loved that radio show.
I loved that radio show, and it ended in COVID. And they basically, first put me on furlough, and then they said, the advertising's dried up. We can't bring you back. And I was devastated. And I spent, a few hours just really being with my sadness and my anger and my fear. And then I, remembered, like you say, and I was like, you know what? There are ways in which I was kind of ready. I mean, as much as I loved it, there were things that I was wanting to change that I was getting pushed back around, and it was starting to get a little bit tired. But the truth is, now what I'm going to do, and this only came after I allowed myself to go into those feelings.
Did you say 2 hours though?
Yeah. I mean,
you were disappointed for 2 hours?
Not disappointed for 2 hours. I was like, for 2 hours.
Okay. All right.
And then I went, okay. And so this is the miracle of being with your feelings, is that it's like if you don't express them, they're like a block.
Yeah.
And when at least for me, and I found this for others too, when I allow myself to really experience the truth of my feelings, the ones I don't want to be with, right? I never have a problem feeling joy, but the other ones, then I can all of a sudden see possibilities after. It's like it clears the air almost.
Yeah.
And so after those 2 hours, I was just like, you know what? Okay, let me try on That Which Is Right Is Unfolding.
Yes.
How might this be for me? And all of a sudden, podcast.
Yes.
I've wanted to do podcasts for so long. I've been wanting to be my own creative boss for so long. I've been wanting not to work for anyone for so long. I've been wanting to become independent and in control of my own content.
Right. But you didn't want to give up that check.
No, of course not.
Yes, I know. I know. Well, and okay, so you are on Valentine's Day. So I'm trying to figure out when this is going to, now we'll probably be right after that. But we're talking live right now.
But
so
yeah, Valentine's.
Your podcast is launching February 14th.
Yeah, it may go up a little sooner, but definitely by February 14th. I'm going to try to get it up sooner. It's called The Language of Love.
Oh, I love that for you.
That good?
That's really good.
I'm answering, calls, questions. You can send in voicemails and emails, and
oh, you're gonna love that.
I know. I already did 4 episodes, taped them. They're just being edited now, and it was so much fun. It was so much.
Yeah, you're so gonna love that. It's there, and the reach of that. The real reach of that and podcasting. I mean, I remember when I was snooty about podcasts, like who's listening to those? Oh my God. I mean, it's like a whole nother world.
Mm-hmm.
There's my friend Meryl.
A world that I really had to learn about.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so your podcast, The Language of Love, is launching on February 14th. What else is going on?
I'm working on a book, which is really scary because it's a memoir. And and it goes into some things I've never shared before. It's called,
I think you should do a memoir. I was trying to do your life story as a movie.
Well, you're part of it
darn years.
You're part of it because that was working on that show with you, or that show idea with you. And you were the first one, because you
Oh,
said,
yeah. Yeah.
can you
Because I
just
read
write?
your fiction draft and I said, your real story is great.
Yeah. And there's even more, actually, that I didn't really recover and come to terms with
Yes.
until after that.
Yeah.
So, the struggle and the fear is not only that I'm writing it, the only way I can write it is in first person, going
Yeah.
back to those painful times. So I'm going back to them, which isn't fun.
Yeah.
But also, it's, both my parents have passed now, which is, I think, why I'm doing this now. But I still feel a little guilty because, there's so many beautiful parts of them, but, there's some that
No, they were colorful.
they were colorful.
They were
Yeah.
colorful. No, so many things. I was just thinking of you today because I was reading something in I'm doing Rachel Cargill's course, her little Instagram course this month, and one of our assignment today was to look up, is it Igloo, the Igloo landing? It's on it's St. Simon.
Oh, like that was
Igbo, yeah, Igbo. At St. Simon's Island, where the mass suicide
I
took
can't even
place.
tell you how happy that makes me, because nobody talks about that. Yes,
Yeah.
Eagle Landing is this
Oh,
little,
it's all. Listen, we're coming into a new world.
yeah,
We're this is there. It's going to be very, very different.
yeah,
It's going to be forward. We're going to understand things. We are not, the old whitewash history is over.
yeah,
So I was thinking about you because, as you know, I was born in St. Simon's Island, and you lived in St. Simon's Island. It feels like you and I are destined to spend some time there. But I do know your personal story is, well, it is a gobsmacker. So your memoir is going to be absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait. Do you know when you're going to be done?
Well, I just finished the proposal. And now, we'll see if I need to write it either way. So
Yeah.
my plan is, obviously to get it published, but I may get a beautiful no. And then I will just publish it myself, whatever I need to do, because, really what the book is about is called Confessions of a Sex Therapist.
Yes.
And it's really about, the power of confession and bringing the shadows into the light and the shame into the light. And it's about my journey of letting go of shame, and how the sex therapist who was helping everybody with their sex lives, had her own issues. So my story, is that as I claim that, it empowers and models for other people. And that is the only way that we can really move to faith and trust and resilience, is when we aren't
Amen.
hiding.
Amen. Well, listen, I was on Clubhouse today.
Oh, I'm gonna be on
Dr.
Friday.
Berman, are
Friday
you?
at 4.
Oh my gosh, I felt like such a groovester. I was like, I was on a panel talking about writing a book, and I was saying that very thing, that I had no idea that the process of excavating my own story, forcing myself to put it on a page, and then sharing it would be so healing. Like, talk about bringing light to shame.
I know.
I mean,
I remember when you went, like, I forget where you went, but I came to your house right after you came back, and you were going somewhere to intensively write. And
oh yeah, I was probably finishing.
you came back and you were like, oh, like that.
Oh yeah, no, that was hard. That was hard.
It was hard.
It is hard. It is there's a reason why a lot of people don't do it. I mean, it's really hard. But I was saying to this Clubhouse group that, I'm going to tell you, when you're on the other side, it's like, wow, who knew how that was going to be so healing? Yeah. I'm glad that it lands on people. I'm glad people want to read it, and I'm glad that was helpful. But my God, what it's done for me.
Yeah. Well,
it's really, really good. Well, listen, when you have your proposal done, I'm happy to send it to my publisher.
Oh, good. I'm almost done.
I like her a lot.
Yeah, I would love that.
It's really good.
I'm excited about it. And I think it's a series of basically short stories, like these episodes kind of you know, times.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Which
I know.
comes,
People are saying, "Oh, the great Dr. Berman, has issues." Well, that's what makes you the
that's
great.
why.
That's what makes you the great Dr. Berman.
Great is that we all have issues. I mean, I always joke with my husband that, I hope I'm done now, right? Like I've had to have everything be, go through a divorce, be horribly cheated on, go through abuse, go through cancer, lose my mother, have kids with chronic, all of these issues. And every single one of them, also, I guess, could be beautiful no's, have added like an entire new enriching layer to my work in the world. And, it'd be
Yes.
nice if I didn't have to experience everything to heal it, help others heal. But that is also, that's really the ultimate reason of the book is that I'm healing myself and writing it, but I also know I'm helping others heal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
people
Yes.
are
Yes.
following me and you on Clubhouse. So Friday, if you come on Clubhouse, I don't know if anyone, I don't know how you go on there, if you have to have an invitation.
You and I, we're not the big experts,
I
but
know.
you're going to be on
Okay,
Friday.
I'll come. But on Friday at 4, I'm going to do a panel, everything you ever wanted to know about sex, but we're afraid to ask.
Oh my God, that's going to be juicy.
Yeah.
That's going to be a juicy, schmoosy one. All right.
Oh, someone was saying, I did have a show on Oprah Radio. Someone was saying they used to love listening to me on Exit.
Yes, I know.
That was
I
fun.
know. That was fun.
People know when the radio show ended.
Oh my gosh, there's so many seasons to all this. Oh, I see Quantum Love book in the background.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. I can see it too. I love that book. That's a really good book. All right. Well, listen, Dr. Berman, I wish you all the success with your podcast.
Thank you.
It's going to be a rip-roaring success. Keep me posted on your memoir writing.
I will.
I'm very excited about that. You know what? That's the thing people are going to pick up and make a movie on. Lord knows we tried everything we could, didn't we?
Yeah.
It was the beautiful note. It's like
I was supposed to write this book.
You're supposed to write this book. You really are. All right, my friend. I love you. Thank you for coming on and sharing your beautiful no. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Look at everybody joining us. I'll see you soon. I'll come see you I'll watch you on Clubhouse. Listen to you in Clubhouse on Friday. Bye.
Bye.
That is the amazingly great, fabulous Dr. Laura Berman. Oh my gosh. So many great chats with her. So many really, really, really great stories of our times together. Yay. Thanks for coming out tonight. I'm going to be doing a really great, show with a new friend of mine that you're going to love. That's going to be on Thursday. Courtney Horvath's in the house. Courtney Horvath's in the house. Thanks for everybody for coming. I got to go check on my Iowa Hawkeyes. Love. Love plus.